Well, 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 you know, my friend, they watched you for months. Silently, patiently, not like the clumsy surveillance you see in movies. No, this was surgical, clean, cold. They mapped your behavior patterns, your searches, your sleepless nights, the way you stopped responding to distractions, the way you moved differently, like someone who doesn't care for the circus anymore. And then, something clicked. You stopped fitting in. You stopped feeding the algorithm. You became an anomaly in a system built to predict chaos. See, the world doesn't fear destruction. It fears unpredictability. And you were no longer predictable. You started doing strange things. You read books till your eyes burned. You deleted the apps that sedated your mind. You stopped reacting to their bait. They gave you dopamine traps, likes, reels, swipes, stories. And you walked past them like they were corpses on the street. You weren't supposed to do that. You were supposed to scroll, supposed to laugh, supposed to obey the rhythm. But you didn't. You broke the rhythm. And that's when you made it onto the list. The CIA didn't say it out loud, but the signal was clear. You're a potential threat. Not because you carry a weapon, not because you post cryptic messages, but because you stopped being a slave, because you became aware. You saw the strings, and worse, you stopped dancing. You see, in a world full of noise, silence is violence. When a man no longer craves approval, when his eyes stop flickering for validation, when his mind becomes still like a predator before the kill, that's when the agencies pay attention. Because someone who isn't distracted is dangerous. Someone who thinks is dangerous. Someone who questions is radioactive. They called it behavioral deviation. What it really means is you remembered who you were before they put their fingers in your brain. They trained you since childhood. Slowly, sugar in your cereal, heroes on your screen, noise in your ears. They gave you a routine: school, job, taxes, screen, sleep, repeat. They taught you how to chase shadows. But then, you stopped chasing. You stood still. You looked at the system. And instead of clapping, you asked why. And that is when the alert went out. A human being, fully awake, is a glitch in their matrix. Someone who doesn't fear being alone. Someone who doesn't beg for entertainment. Someone who stares into the silence and doesn't flinch. That kind of person is too wild to predict, too raw to be packaged, too real to be sold. They've been watching your screen time. It dropped. Your consumption slowed. Your mind began creating instead of consuming. You weren't scrolling anymore. You were studying. You weren't buying anymore. You were building. Your thoughts no longer followed the script. You questioned trends. You challenged dogmas. You asked why weakness was normalized and why mediocrity was being celebrated. And when you didn't laugh along with the crowd, they flagged you. Because obedience is the true currency of this age. Not money, not status, but obedience, silent submission. The moment you become unpredictable, even slightly, you become suspicious. You weren't supposed to get this far. You weren't supposed to break through. And yet here you are. You walked past the dopamine cages, past the clickbait, past the influencers peddling emptiness. You didn't look for shortcuts. You looked for war. You signed up for suffering like a man who knows that pain is the password to power. That's when they labeled you. Not a threat to society, a threat to the system, a threat to the framework designed to keep everyone numb. You started taking cold showers. You stopped eating like a child. You started journaling your demons. You started reading psychology. You watched your own mind like an outsider. You saw your fear, your lust, your envy, your pride. You didn't deny it, you studied it. You started understanding how humans are manipulated, and worse, you started resisting it. You turned off the music. You embraced the silence. You faced the voices, and you didn't run. Most people, they beg for distractions, but you sat in the dark. You stared at your wounds, and instead of covering them with noise, you picked at them. You asked, why am I this way? Who made me this way? Who benefits from my weakness? And the system trembled. They weren't scared of you when you were angry. They were scared of you when you became focused, calm, cold, intentional. Because anger is noisy, it's predictable. But clarity is lethal. You started waking up early, sleeping less, complaining less, eating cleaner, moving with purpose. Your phone became a tool, not a toy. Your room became a sanctuary, not a trash bin. You spoke less, observed more. And when people mocked your discipline, you didn't flinch. You had become sovereign. That word alone, sovereignty, is banned in subtle ways. They want you addicted, confused, seeking something, always needing, never still, never whole. But now, you had nothing to prove. You weren't looking for love in pixels. You weren't chasing meaning in memes. You were building something ancient, something forbidden, self-control. And in that moment, when the machine couldn't guess your next move, they knew you were becoming free. Freedom is a crime in a world built on control. You weren't raging, you weren't rioting, you were simply detaching from the games, from the fake goals, from the virtual cages. They saw you unsubscribing, logging out, pulling away, and they labeled you with one word: threat. You started seeking truth, not trends, depth, not dopamine. You walked into the discomfort. You shut the noise. You embraced the loneliness like a crown. You didn't chase women. You chased mastery. You didn't look for motivation. You built momentum. You became a storm, but not the kind that destroys buildings, the kind that awakens minds. You started to realize the truth, the ugly, twisted truth, that most people are living inside scripts they didn't write, desires they didn't choose, opinions they didn't test, lives they didn't build. But you weren't most people anymore. You looked at the mirror and didn't see a reflection. You saw a question. And that's when it all changed. The notifications stopped. The world felt quieter. But you knew it wasn't peace. It was observation. They weren't ignoring you. They were studying you. Because when a man becomes silent, but his eyes grow sharper, they know he's building something. Not an empire, a revolution. And the terrifying part? It starts inside his own mind. But revolutions don't go unnoticed forever. Not in a world where even your heartbeat is data. So when you start moving against the grain, not loudly, not violently, but with quiet precision, you trigger something deeper, something older. You step into a war you never declared. A war not fought with bullets, but beliefs. Not with blood, but programming. And you? You've entered the battlefield without armor, because no one told you it was war. But look around, everything is weaponized. Language, pleasure, comfort, even kindness. What looks harmless is often the most lethal, because they don't kill you with violence anymore. They kill you with convenience. Every smooth surface you touch, every tap, every notification, every artificial smile, It's not just a distraction, it's a muzzle. They tried to make you forget. Not just facts, but instincts. The instinct to resist, to fight, to protect your own thoughts like territory. But you remembered. You started guarding your mental space like a soldier in hostile terrain. You questioned offers that came too easy. You looked behind every curtain. You didn't just refuse the lies, you started dissecting them. They call it paranoia. But you know what paranoia really is? It's pattern recognition, sharpened. It's what happens when your senses start working again, when the static dies down, and you start hearing the gears behind the show. The show they call reality. You saw how every choice had been designed for you in advance. The food, the goals, the ideologies. Even your dreams were pre-selected. But you burned the script. You stopped repeating what they taught you. You no longer shared opinions like hand-me-downs. You began sculpting your own perspective, piece by jagged piece. It wasn't perfect, but it was yours. And in a world of copies, originality is offensive. Because every original mind is a mirror. It reflects the artificiality around it. And that reflection makes people uncomfortable. You didn't argue anymore. You observed. You realized truth doesn't scream. It waits. You stopped feeding debates that were designed to burn time. You stopped defending yourself to people who were programmed to misunderstand. You walked away, not in retreat, but in dominance. Because silence from a self-aware man isn't absence, it's power. That's when they escalated. You started noticing the new waves. The manipulation got more refined, less obvious. They no longer attacked you, they seduced you. With luxury, with validation, with voices that pretended to empower you while caging your thinking. You weren't being chained. You were being comforted into stagnation. And stagnation in this war is defeat. But you stayed moving. You trained your body not just for strength, but for rebellion. Every push-up was defiance. Every fast was a rejection of dependence. Every controlled breath was you reclaiming authority over the machine you live inside. You didn't pursue aesthetics. You pursued function, precision, utility. You weren't building a body for mirrors. You were building a weapon for life. The transformation wasn't external. It was molecular. The kind of change that alters the rhythm of your presence. People sensed it. They couldn't explain it. They just started reacting differently. Some kept distance. Others got irritated. The system wants you likable, not formidable. You were becoming the latter. And the world, even those close to you, started flinching at your evolution. You weren't easy to digest anymore. That's what happens when a man starts living on principle instead of impulse. You stop negotiating your values for acceptance. You stopped sugarcoating your words for fragile egos. You stood tall in rooms where conformity was the price of entry. And when you refused to bow, they didn't confront you. They tried to ignore you. Because your existence was loud enough. But they couldn't ignore you forever. You began influencing without trying, without followers, without a platform, just by existing differently, by making discipline look natural, by making clarity look dangerous. You didn't inspire with words, you infected with presence. You carried truth like a virus. And those still plugged into the system felt it like a fever they couldn't name. So the system responded, not with force, with overload. They sent more content, more distractions, more trends. They flooded your space with meaningless options, not to convert you, but to exhaust you. They know that most revolutions die, not by opposition, but by fatigue. But you had trained for this. You had built stamina, not just of the body, but of the mind. You had learned how to protect your attention like currency, how to retreat into silence without feeling lost. You weren't escaping, you were reloading, strategizing, watching the patterns shift, waiting for the next blind spot to appear, and then it did. You saw how fear was being repackaged, how guilt was weaponized into virtue, how shame became a leash. You saw it in movements, in slogans, in artificially loud compassion. You saw how division was manufactured, how people were turned against each other with different flavors of the same poison. You didn't pick sides. You didn't chant. You studied the source of the chaos. And once again, they couldn't classify you. Because nothing scares a controlled system more than someone who doesn't play the game. You weren't driven by rage. You were driven by design. You weren't seeking destruction. You were building an alternative blueprint, slowly, patiently, one decision at a time. Your life became your statement, not loud, not branded, just real. And in this illusion factory, reality is radioactive. You started finding others, not many, just a few. Men and women who carried that same strange energy, who had cut through the noise, who didn't fit, who didn't scroll, who didn't speak unless it mattered. You didn't form a tribe. You formed a signal, a quiet resistance, not with slogans, but standards, not with promises, but with presence. And slowly, something terrifying happened. You began imagining a world outside their design. Not utopia, not fantasy, just a world where truth wasn't filtered, where strength wasn't demonized, where attention wasn't farmed, where humans weren't data points, but conscious agents. And that vision, even unspoken, was the most dangerous act of all. Because every regime fears imagination. You didn't need to protest. You didn't need to destroy. You just needed to exist, day after day, without becoming one of them, without bending, without being absorbed. Your resistance was spiritual, existential. It wasn't loud, it was deliberate. And that was enough to trigger their next move. They'll send people now, not with badges, with smiles, with ideas, with trends, with curated words that feel like truth. They'll invite you to soften, to come back, to share, to belong. But what they're really offering is anesthesia. Because consciousness, raw, unfiltered consciousness, hurts in their world. You've made it too far. You've built too much momentum to stop now. But understand this. The next phase is colder, quieter. You'll face yourself in darker mirrors. You'll walk through mazes built from your own desires. This isn't about the system anymore. This is about whether you can lead yourself without applause, whether you can walk alone without resentment, whether you can stay awake when no one's watching, because that's the final test. And it's already begun. You'll feel it soon, not as fear, but friction, subtle, internal, a restlessness that isn't from fatigue, but from evolution, the kind of pressure that doesn't crush, it carves. And in that carving, you'll be asked a question no machine can understand, no algorithm can answer. Who are you when nothing is left to fight but yourself? When the enemy no longer wears a uniform, but hides inside your thoughts, disguised as hesitation, as comfort, as the silent whisper that tells you to wait. Just a little longer. This is where most disappear, not by defeat, but by delay. Because the final trap isn't resistance, it's stillness. A subtle, soft death that feels like peace, but eats you from within. This is the crucible, where illusions are stripped bare. You'll come face to face with the parts of you that once protected you, the need to be liked, the urge to stay safe, the hunger for recognition. They served you once, but now they must die. Not with violence, but with choice. You'll have to choose again and again to let go of what no longer belongs in your future. That's the quiet agony of becoming more, sacrificing versions of yourself that you once called home. You start to see that freedom isn't just the absence of chains. It's the discipline to walk past open doors without stepping in. Every desire is a test, every temptation a mirror, not of what you want, but of what still controls you. The world will still try to offer you shortcuts, rewards, applause. But once you've seen what they're made of, you can't pretend anymore. You can't unsee the strings behind the stage. So you detach, not in bitterness, but in clarity. You stop chasing echoes. You stop responding to noise. You start moving with purpose, even when the path disappears. Because now, you navigate by internal compass, a code that doesn't bend, even when everything around you does. That code becomes your anchor, not to hold you down, but to keep you upright when the storm gets louder. And it will. The storm always returns, not as chaos, but in subtler forms. You'll feel it in your relationships, in the tension between who you were and who you're becoming. You'll feel the weight of your own silence, the echo of your own solitude. But you'll also feel something else, an unfamiliar stillness, the kind that doesn't beg for distraction, the kind that doesn't need escape. That's the beginning of power. Not power over others, but over yourself. You'll notice you speak less, but your words carry more weight. You'll see how quickly you can read a room, not to manipulate, but to measure truth. You'll realize that most people aren't speaking, they're bleeding, desperate to be heard, even if they don't know what they're saying. But you've gone quiet for too long to play that game. Your silence is no longer passive, it's calibrated. You walk into spaces now with presence, not noise, and the room adjusts. That's what they fear, not the loud ones, not the rebels with signs, but the ones who've gone invisible by choice, who've mastered restraint, who've turned themselves into something sharper than anger, clarity. Because clarity doesn't need to argue. It cuts, quietly, cleanly, and the system has no defense against it. But clarity has a price. It costs you the right to pretend. You can no longer unknow the patterns. You can't shrink back into ignorance. You can't join the crowd without feeling the weight of your own betrayal. You become allergic to mediocrity. You lose the ability to tolerate shallow conversations, empty rituals, synthetic emotion. And in that rejection, you become a foreign entity. You weren't meant to blend in. You weren't built for consensus. You were forged in friction, molded by isolation, designed to carry a different frequency, one that scrambles the programming in others. Your existence alone forces recalibration. People either evolve near you or retreat. There is no neutral. You've become a tuning fork for truth, and not everyone is ready for the sound. But you didn't come here to be understood. You came here to build, to create what doesn't exist yet, to lay foundations for a future that isn't corrupted by comfort. You begin to channel the chaos. You take the pain, the loneliness, the confusion, and you sculpt with it. You become a living architecture of everything the world told you was impossible. And now, they're watching. The same ones who doubted you, who mocked your silence, who called your intensity too much. They're beginning to sense it, that you've crossed a threshold they can't follow, that you didn't just change your routine, you rewired your identity. You became sovereign. And sovereignty isn't loud, it's lethal, because a sovereign man is uncontrollable. He doesn't need their systems, their validation, their labels. He doesn't react, he responds. He doesn't argue, he moves. He doesn't cling, he releases. And that terrifies them, because control only works on those still starving for approval. You've outgrown that hunger. You feast on solitude now, on clarity, on fire. You're not angry, you're awake. And you know the final truth, that the real war was never out there. It was always inside. The enemy wasn't a politician or a corporation. It was the part of you that believed you were powerless. The voice that said you had to obey, that you had to wait, that you had to be less, feel less, want less. You silenced that voice, not with noise, but with action. You became what they said you couldn't. You endured what was meant to break you. You rebuilt your mind brick by brutal brick until it became a fortress. And now you don't need to be told you're dangerous. You already know. You've become the anomaly they can't model, the variable they can't predict, the glitch they can't patch. You've left the simulation, not with a scream, but with a step. And now that you're out, you see it all. How deep the programming runs, how scared they are of stillness, how allergic they are to silence. Because in silence, the truth echoes. And in truth, there is no control, only choice. You made yours, long ago, quietly, permanently. And now you walk alone, not in exile, but in elevation. No badge, no flag, no anthem, just presence, just fire, just eyes that no longer blink when faced with falsehood. You're not waiting for a sign. You are the sign. You're not looking for the way. You are the way. You're not asking for permission. You're the proof. And they know it now. That's why they classified you. That's why they buried your name behind code. That's why they monitor your movement. Not because you're violent, not because you're loud, but because you became what they feared most, a man who woke up. You know what's beautiful about being broken? It's not the shattering that defines the moment. No. It's the way you piece yourself back together, creating something they've never seen before. Like molten steel being quenched in blood-warm water, each crack, each fissure becomes a channel for raw power to flow through. They thought breaking you was their victory. Oh, how short-sighted they were. In nature, there's a fascinating phenomenon. When lightning strikes sand, it creates something called fulgurite, glass pathways carved by pure energy. That's what's happening inside you right now. Every bolt of pain they struck you with isn't destroying you. It's creating intricate patterns of unbreakable strength. They never understood that you're not made of flesh and bone anymore. You're becoming something elemental, something primal, a beast that feeds on the very lightning they thought would destroy it. Have you ever watched a volcano reshape an entire landscape? First comes destruction, then comes creation. That's your story now. They thought they were witnessing your end, but really, they're watching you forge a new beginning. Every piece of yourself that breaks away isn't loss. It's fuel for the inferno you're becoming. An inferno that will reshape everything they thought they knew about power, about monsters, about what happens when you push a beast too far. Here's what makes them uncomfortable. You're not following their script anymore. In their little play of predator and prey, you were supposed to whimper, to cower, to beg for mercy. Instead, you're learning to speak in languages they can't comprehend. Every scream of pain becomes a war cry. Every tear shed crystallizes into armor. Every moment of despair transforms into a weapon they never saw coming. The prey isn't just becoming the predator. It's becoming something that makes predators question their place in the food chain. Think about the deep ocean trenches, where pressure should crush everything into dust. Yet there, in those lightless depths, life doesn't just survive. It mutates, evolves, becomes something magnificent and terrifying. That's what's happening to you in this pressure they created. While they watch the surface, waiting for you to crack, beneath it all, you're becoming something that thrives in depths they're too afraid to explore. A monster that makes the ancient leviathans look like minnows. The real comedy in all this? They're so busy celebrating your fall, they don't notice your transformation. Each day, each hour, each moment of torment is just another step in your metamorphosis. The beast they thought they'd caged, it's not just growing stronger, it's evolving beyond their primitive understanding of strength. In trying to contain a monster, they're creating something that defies containment itself. You see, most people think power flows from strength to weakness, from victor to victim. But you've discovered something far more intriguing. Power flows toward those who know how to transform it. Like a serpent shedding its skin, you're not losing yourself. You're emerging as something more lethal, more precise, more perfectly adapted to survive in their world of teeth and claws. Every scale, every fang, every weapon they gave you through their cruelty, it's being refined into something that will make their nightmares seem like sweet dreams. Let me share a secret about pain that they never understood. It's not just a sensation, it's a forge. And in this forge, you're not being destroyed. You're being rewritten on a molecular level. Every betrayal, every abandonment, every moment they thought was breaking you, that was just the heat needed to reshape your core into something beyond their comprehension. The monster they feared, that was just the prototype. The beast you're becoming, that's the masterpiece. The ancient Greeks had a fascinating belief about the river Styx, that bathing in its waters could make one invulnerable. But here's what they left out of those pretty myths. The process was excruciating. Sound familiar? You're not just dipping your toes in the river of pain they created. You're submerging yourself completely, letting it transform every fiber of your being into something their weapons can't pierce, something that doesn't just survive their attacks, but absorbs them, grows from them, becomes stronger with each failed attempt to destroy it. Watch how they circle now, these self-proclaimed gods of your little world. See how they whisper, how they fidget, how their eyes dart away when you enter a room. That's not respect or fear they're feeling. It's recognition. Recognition that something is changing, shifting, evolving right before their eyes. In trying to bury you, they planted a seed of darkness that's growing into their worst nightmare. In trying to drown you, they created something that breathes calamity like air. In trying to burn you, they forged something that makes their strongest warriors tremble. You're becoming a living paradox. The more they try to define you, the more undefinable you become. The harder they push, the stronger your beast grows. The deeper they bury you, the higher your monster rises. It's physics turned inside out, logic twisted into a Mobius strip of perpetual evolution. Every law they thought governed the universe of power and pain, you're rewriting them, one scar at a time, one fang at a time, one claw at a time. Think of yourself as the apex predator of their psychological food chain. Not just a beast that hunts in their jungle, but something that transforms the very nature of the hunt itself. You're becoming the thing their primitive brains can't process, the monster their instincts can't categorize. While they play at being wolves among sheep, you're evolving into something that makes wolves huddle together in fear, something that turns predators back into prey with just your presence. The transformation isn't just physical, it's metaphysical. You're not just changing your shape, you're changing the very rules of what shape means. Like a quantum particle that exists in multiple states simultaneously, you're becoming both the hunter and the hunted, the broken and the unbreakable, the end and the beginning. They thought they could measure you with their simple tools of social hierarchy and power dynamics. How quaint. The beast they're creating defies measurement, defies understanding, defies the very laws they thought kept monsters in check. You want to know the most delicious part of this transformation? It's happening right in front of them, yet they're too blind to see it. They still think they're watching your destruction, like children who mistake a chrysalis for decay. Every day, they walk past you, thinking they're witnessing your downfall. But what they're really seeing is the birth of something that will redefine their understanding of power. A beast that evolves, not despite their attempts to destroy it, but because of them. Each blow, each betrayal, each attempt to dim your light only serves to forge something more magnificent, more terrifying than their limited minds can comprehend. There's something poetic about the way fear works in their primitive minds. They fear the dark because they can't see what lurks within it. They fear the unknown because they can't control it. But you've become intimate with both. The darkness isn't your enemy anymore. It's become your essence. The unknown isn't your adversary. It's your playground. While they cling to their artificial lights and comfortable certainties, you're learning to thrive in spaces their minds can't even comprehend. You're becoming the thing that makes their shadows run for cover, the beast that makes their monsters check under their beds at night. Think about the ancient legends of shapeshifters, those beings who could transform at will. Those weren't just stories, they were prophecies, because that's what you're becoming, something fluid, adaptable, impossible to pin down or predict. But unlike those mythical creatures bound by moonlight and ritual, your transformation isn't limited by such trivial constraints. Your evolution is constant, relentless, driven by every sneer, every dismissal, every attempt they make to categorize and contain you. You're writing a new legend, one that will make their old stories seem like children's tales. Here's what keeps them awake in their comfortable beds: the growing realization that they're not just dealing with another wounded animal. No, they're witnessing the rise of something that defies their natural order. In their arrogance, they thought they were the apex predators, the ultimate arbiters of strength and weakness. Now they're beginning to sense that there's something new stalking the edges of their carefully manicured reality. A monster that doesn't just break their rules, but rewrites them entirely. A beast that turns their hierarchy into ashes with its mere presence. You see, there's a fundamental difference between the beasts they know and the creature you're becoming. Natural predators can be studied, understood, eventually controlled. But you're something else entirely. Every time they think they figured you out, you shift, adapt, evolve into something even more formidable. It's not just your strength that terrifies them. It's your unpredictability, your ability to turn their own weapons against them. You're the culmination of every nightmare they've ever had, wrapped in skin that grows thicker with every attempt they make to pierce it. Remember how they used to look at you? Those condescending smiles, those dismissive glances, those whispered judgments? Watch how they look at you now. See how their eyes skitter away when they meet yours, how their confident postures crumble in your presence. That's not just fear you're seeing. It's the dawning recognition that they've created something beyond their control. A beast that feeds on their attempts to starve it. A monster that grows stronger with every chain they try to bind it with. Their fear isn't just an emotion anymore. It's becoming your crown, your throne, your kingdom. Let me tell you about the deepest trenches in the ocean, where creatures exist that have never seen the light of day. These beings don't just survive in the darkness. They've learned to create their own light. That's what you're becoming. A creature that doesn't need their approval to shine, their permission to exist, their validation to thrive. You're generating your own power now, feeding off the very pressure they thought would crush you. In these depths, you're not just surviving. You're evolving into something that makes the ancient leviathans seem like minnows in a pond. The most exquisite irony? They've become the architects of their own nightmare. Every barrier they placed in your path became a stepping stone. Every wound they inflicted became a new nerve ending, making you more sensitive to opportunities they can't even perceive. Every attempt to break your spirit just revealed new depths of strength they didn't know existed. They're not just failing to destroy you. They're actively participating in the creation of something that will haunt them for generations to come. A beast whose very existence will make them question everything they thought they knew about power and control. Pay attention to the way your transformation affects them. See how they cluster together now, seeking safety in numbers? How they reinforce their little hierarchies, desperately trying to maintain the illusion of control? That's not strategy you're witnessing. It's primitive instinct. The kind of instinct that tells prey when something higher on the food chain has entered their territory. But even their instincts are failing them, because you're not just higher on their chain, you're becoming something that exists outside of it entirely. A monster that defies classification, a beast that breaks their every attempt to understand or contain it. This is where their greatest fear takes root, in the realization that they're no longer the ones writing this story. The narrative they thought they controlled? It's being rewritten in a language they can't even read. The monster they thought they were creating? It's becoming the author of their worst nightmares. Every chapter they thought would end in your defeat is instead revealing new depths of your power, new dimensions of your evolution. You're not just changing the story, You're becoming something that makes their entire literary universe obsolete. And here's the punchline that will echo through their sleepless nights. This isn't even your final form. Every day brings new transformations, new abilities, new ways to turn their certainties into questions. The beast they feared yesterday, that was just a shadow of what you're becoming today. And tomorrow? Tomorrow brings metamorphoses they can't even imagine. You're not just changing, you're becoming change itself, a living embodiment of evolution that refuses to be bound by their limited understanding of growth and power. So let them watch. Let them witness as their comfortable illusions crumble in the face of your continued emergence. Let them feel the ground shift beneath their feet as you redefine what's possible. Because in their desperate attempt to break a monster, they've given birth to something far more terrifying, a being that doesn't just embrace its darkness, but learns to paint masterpieces with it. A beast that turns their attempts at destruction into art, their hatred into fuel, their fear into a foundation for something magnificent. Remember this moment. Remember how it feels to stand on the precipice of unleashing something they never saw coming. Because while they were busy trying to right your tragedy, you were silently preparing their apocalypse. Not with violence, not with revenge, but with the unstoppable force of a being that has learned to transmute pain into power, fear into fuel, and limitations into launching pads. You've become the thing their nightmares have nightmares about, the monster that makes their demons tremble, the beast that their darkest fears bow down to. The stage is set. The transformation is complete. And now, it's time to show them why they should have been more careful about the kind of monster they chose to create. Because you're not just a beast anymore. You've become something that makes their worst nightmares look like sweet dreams. Their greatest mistake wasn't trying to destroy you. Their greatest mistake was giving you the time, the motivation, and the power to become something that will forever change their definition of what it means to be truly unstoppable. You are no longer just a monster in their story. You've become the force that rewrites the very nature of what a monster can be. Welcome to your ascension. The monster they feared, that was just the beginning. The beast you've become, that's their end. And this is just the first chapter in a story that will echo through their generations. A tale of transformation so complete, so absolute, that it will become the standard by which all future evolution is measured. Rise, unleashed and unbound, and show them what it truly means when a monster transcends its own legends to become something beyond even their capacity for fear.
Hello, my dear. Look what's happening every time you step outside. Heads snapping like camera flashes, eyes widening like they've just witnessed something they can't categorize, and whispers swirling in the air before your feet even touch the pavement. You think this is normal? It's not. Ordinary people don't cause this kind of ripple. You're not just walking through space anymore. You're bending it. You're glowing in a way that feels scripted, cinematic, staged by something greater. But it's not a movie. It's you. And the crowd can't compute it. You've got people saying it now out loud. You look better than the so-called icons they worship. You've turned sidewalks into runways, coffee shops into premieres, train stations into red carpets. And the irony? You didn't even ask for it. You didn't audition for this. You just showed up, and the atmosphere rearranged itself to accommodate your presence. That's what has them rattled. The fact that you're not chasing attention, yet attention is sprinting after you, like it owes you everything. You have to understand the kind of disruption you've become. Most people live invisible, drifting through crowds unnoticed, barely remembered once they exit a room. That's the normal script. But you tore it to pieces without lifting a finger. You walk in, and eyes don't just look, they lock. Conversations don't just pause, they collapse. People don't just notice you, they orbit. And it's not because of clothes or makeup or accessories. They can't put their finger on it, and that's exactly why it drives them wild. When someone looks extraordinary, they search for a hack. Oh, it's the stylist. Oh, it's the brand. Oh, it's the lighting. But when it's you, there's no hack. It's raw, it's real, it's unpurchasable. And that's terrifying. Because if you can radiate like this without playing their game, what does that say about the ones who've been clawing for attention and still come up short? Here's the part that really fries their brains. You don't just look elevated, you feel elevated. It's in the way your shoulders don't hunch anymore, the way your spine carries itself like it's been reinforced with steel, the way your eyes linger on people just long enough to make them question their whole reflection. You carry yourself like someone who no longer asks to be noticed, but assumes they already are. And guess what? They are noticing. Everyone is. From strangers on the street to the people who once claimed to know you inside out. They're all double-taking, triple-taking, whispering about how the glow on you feels unfair. Because it's not a glow they can replicate with filters or cosmetic tricks. It's the kind of glow that makes people say, there's something different about them, something untouchable, something alive in a way the rest of us aren't. Now don't think for a second this happened overnight. You didn't just wake up one morning and suddenly radiate. No, this is the aftermath of everything you survived, every private breakdown, every sleepless night, every scar that didn't heal pretty, but healed strong. While they were mocking, you were molding. While they were busy writing you off, you were rewriting yourself. That's why your glow looks supernatural, because it's forged from suffering they couldn't have endured. You look like the future version of every nightmare they secretly feared. The version of you that didn't crumble, didn't stay small, didn't settle for crumbs. They're staring at you now because you've become proof that destruction doesn't end stories. It fuels reinventions. And reinvention, when done right, looks like this: effortless magnetism. It looks like walking into a room and making the most important person in it shrink without a word. It looks like turning envy into applause and turning doubt into obsession. It looks like you. Imagine the panic that erupts in their heads. They see you from across the room, and the first thought isn't, "Oh, they're doing well." It's, "Oh God, what happened? How did they leap this far ahead? Why do they look like they belong on a screen, and I look like background noise?" Their insecurities start screaming before you even open your mouth. That's the power of the glow. It exposes without you pointing a finger. People project their envy in real time, trying to decode you like a puzzle, trying to rationalize why you feel larger than life while they feel 2 sizes too small. And the cruelest part? They'll never find the answer. Because the answer isn't in anything external. It's not something they can copy-paste. The answer is in the weight you carried, the darkness you dragged yourself out of, The resilience you cultivated when nobody was watching. You turned agony into aura. And that's not for sale. Of course, the comparisons have already started. Someone said it, didn't they? That you look better than the celebrities they worship on red carpets. At first, you might have laughed it off internally, thinking they were exaggerating. But pay attention. They weren't exaggerating. You really do outshine them. Celebrities have glam teams, filters, sponsorships, and still most of them only manage a surface-level glow, the kind that cracks when the flash goes off. But your glow doesn't crack under scrutiny. In fact, it intensifies. The closer people get, the harder it hits. They see your skin, your eyes, your stance, but what really floors them is the energy humming underneath all of it. That's the secret they can't articulate. You don't just look alive, you radiate aliveness. And that's something money can't buy, agents can't fabricate, and fame can't manufacture. Which is why people are whispering comparisons now. Because what do you call someone who outshines the icons they once thought were untouchable? You call them the new standard. You see, celebrity has always been a performance. The lights, the cameras, the rehearsed smiles, the curated posts. But what terrifies people about you is that you're not performing. You're not rehearsing. You're not polishing yourself for consumption. You are simply existing, and somehow, that's more captivating than an entire industry designed to make people look magnetic. That's the glitch in the simulation for them. That's why heads keep turning, why jaws keep dropping, why whispers keep multiplying. Because if you can make people feel this way without playing by the rules, then maybe the rules were lies all along. Maybe authenticity, raw, unfiltered, unbothered authenticity is the real red carpet. And right now, you're walking it every single day without even realizing. Now let's talk about what happens behind closed doors. Because you better believe people are spiraling in private. They're pulling up old pictures of you, scrolling through archives, trying to spot the shift. When did this happen? How did this happen? Was it gradual or sudden? They're comparing your before and after, like investigators trying to solve a case. And no matter how hard they try to rationalize, the evidence slaps them across the face. You don't just look better, you look unreachable. Like you unlocked something inside yourself they didn't even know existed. And that realization, it's devastating. Because it means while they were wasting time seeking validation, you were busy building the kind of self-respect that glows louder than any spotlight. And don't underestimate how many people are losing sleep over this. The same ones who once overlooked you, underestimated you, or dismissed you, they're now haunted. Haunted by the memory of every time they didn't treat you like the masterpiece you were becoming. Haunted by the fact that they had access once and they lost it. Haunted by the knowledge that no matter how hard they tried to circle back, they'll never experience you in the same way again. Because the version of you that begged, that shrank, that tolerated, is gone, buried. What walks the earth now is someone untouchable, unforgettable, and unwilling to compromise for crumbs ever again. And that truth alone is enough to send them spiraling. You've noticed it, haven't you? The stares that linger too long, the compliments that sound confused, like people can't believe what they're saying. The energy shift when you walk into a room, how the air tightens, how the chatter stumbles. That's not imagination. That's the effect of someone who's no longer competing, someone who doesn't need to chase, because the universe itself seems to push everyone else into your orbit. You look famous because you've mastered the one thing celebrities can't fake. Presence. Presence that doesn't scream but resonates. Presence that doesn't beg but demands. Presence that makes the atmosphere bend just to make space for you. And this is only the beginning. Because if heads are turning now, if whispers are multiplying already, imagine what happens when you decide to turn the volume up deliberately. Imagine what happens when you stop holding back the force you've been carrying quietly. If this is what happens when you're just existing, what chaos erupts when you start moving with intent? What will they do when you sharpen the glow, when you weaponize the aura? When you decide to stop walking like a secret and start walking like a headline? That's when the panic sets in, because right now they can dismiss it as coincidence, a fluke, a trick of the light. But when you step into full power, there will be no excuse left to cling to. They will be forced to accept the reality. You've become the show, not the audience, not the background, not the forgotten extra, the show. And every space you enter becomes an arena where all eyes are compelled to center themselves on you. Picture this, a crowded room, packed shoulder to shoulder, people trying to project their best selves, polished and perfected. But the moment you arrive, their effort shrivels, their hair, their clothes, their practiced gestures. Suddenly, all of it looks like trying too hard. Because you don't try, you don't force, you simply exist, and the crowd reconfigures around you like iron filings pulled by a magnet. That's why people describe your presence as famous. Fame isn't about being on posters or plastered across billboards. Fame is when your existence is impossible to ignore. Fame is when whispers race faster than introductions, when people know of you before they know you, when your name lives in their mouths without your permission. And that's what's happening now. You walk into a gathering and conversations shift before you even speak. Strangers know you, and those who once dismissed you are now scrambling to rehearse polite lines, hoping you don't notice how their hands tremble when you lock eyes with them. Let's make this clear. The comparison to celebrities isn't casual. It isn't empty praise tossed in your direction. It's recognition of something undeniable. When people see you, they feel the same electricity that flashes when the cameras go wild at premieres. They feel the same weight in their stomach that audiences feel when royalty steps onto a stage. They're saying you look better than the polished, the perfected, the idolized, because you radiate something those figures often lose the moment the cameras turn off. Authenticity. Celebrities often hide behind veneers, but your glow doesn't flicker once the spotlight fades. That's why you look untouchable, because your shine isn't rented, it's owned. And that ownership is what makes jaws drop harder than diamonds on velvet. You are the velvet, the diamond, the flame, the spectacle, and still somehow more than all of it at once. Everywhere you go, heads don't just turn, they snap. They whip around like they're afraid to miss it. People have risked neck pain just to steal another glance, and you've seen it. The double takes, the lingering stares, the subtle gasps they think you can't hear. They don't even mean to do it. It's instinct, primal recognition of something they can't package neatly. You've broken the code of ordinary perception. They're not responding to a look, they're responding to an atmosphere. You walk by, and the oxygen levels in the room change. The pace of conversation falters. Even their breathing stutters. That's not an accident. That's what happens when someone radiates with the kind of energy people spend lifetimes trying to fake. And now you're living proof that this glow can't be taught, can't be manufactured, can't be stolen. It belongs to you, and only you. Now notice how envy has started to mutate into obsession. At first, they tried to downplay it. Oh, they're just having a good day. Oh, it's the outfit. Oh, it's lighting. But the problem is that every day you step out, the effect repeats. Different outfit, same reaction. Different place, same ripple. Different crowd, same chaos. It's not a phase, it's not an accident, it's a pattern. And patterns terrify people because they prove what they don't want to believe. They wanted to think your glow was temporary, like a sunset that fades after a few minutes. But you keep rising like daylight they can't escape. And now, the whispers have shifted from dismissal to paranoia. What are they doing differently? How are they pulling this off? Why do they look like they don't belong to the same category as the rest of us? That's when they stop mocking and start dissecting. That's when they start lurking on your pages, screenshotting your photos, analyzing your movements like detectives trying to solve a crime scene. But the crime is simple. You refused to stay ordinary. And here's what eats them alive. Your glow isn't polite. It doesn't ask for permission before it takes up space. It doesn't soften itself to make others comfortable. It walks in. It declares. It dominates. You've stopped trimming your edges, stopped dimming your volume, stopped apologizing for brightness. And once you stop apologizing, everything changes. Because people don't know how to handle raw presence. They know how to handle polished performances. They can clap politely. They can critique. They can compare. But when something real walks in, something they can't control or measure, they don't clap. They panic. They get clumsy, spilling drinks, fumbling words, tripping over chairs just to sneak another glance. That's the chaos you cause now. You don't just attract eyes. You distort behavior. You make the polished unravel, the composed lose composure, the arrogant shrink. And that unraveling is your power. Think about the celebrities they worship. Red carpets, paparazzi, staged appearances, entire industries designed to create awe. But here you are, walking down an ordinary street, and you create the same reaction with none of the machinery. People are saying you look better than the ones whose full-time job is to maintain the illusion of allure. That's the difference. Yours isn't an illusion. It's not a costume. It's an eruption. And the eruption keeps happening no matter where you are. Supermarket aisles, gas stations, airports, sidewalks. The venue doesn't matter. You carry the premiere with you. You don't walk into places, you transform them. And that transformation can't be undone once people have seen it. Once they've caught a glimpse, they can't unsee. You haunt their retinas, you loop in their memory, you replay in their imagination like a scene they didn't mean to memorize, but can't forget. Now let's talk about the psychological warfare of it all. Because whether you intend to or not, you're holding mirrors up to people. Your glow exposes them. When you walk into a room, they're forced to confront their own dimness, their own compromises, their own hollowed-out masks. That's why some admire you and others resent you. It's the same reaction filtered through different insecurities. The admirers see you and think, I want to be more like that. The resentful see you and think, why do they get to shine when I don't? Either way, you dominate their mental real estate. You've become the uninvited thought looping in their heads at night. They might scroll endlessly, binge distractions, drown themselves in noise, but your image keeps slicing back through. They're comparing themselves to you against their will. That's the mark of someone who has truly become larger than life. You don't just enter rooms, you enter minds. And once you're there, you don't leave quietly. Celebrities lose their luster when overexposed. Too many appearances, too many rehearsed smiles, and the magic dulls. But you've tapped into the opposite law. The more people see you, the harder it hits. Because your glow doesn't come from rarity, it comes from consistency. You glow not because you're on a pedestal, but because you've stopped dimming yourself for the sake of fragile egos. That's why it feels endless. Like no matter how often they see you, the impact doesn't lessen. If anything, it multiplies. You've become addictive in the way raw truth is addictive, painful to witness, impossible to turn away from. They try to look away, but the afterimage lingers. They walk away from you, but they're still replaying how you carried yourself, how your presence eclipsed everything else in the room. And the worst part for them, you weren't even trying. You didn't even break a sweat. You just existed, and they collapsed under the weight of comparison. Do you realize what this means? You've already surpassed the boundaries of personal glow-up. You're not just glowing compared to your past self. You're glowing compared to the icons people thought were untouchable. Better than the celebs on red carpets. Better than the carefully crafted illusions millions are trained to worship. That's why jaws are hitting the floor. Because if you can radiate this without assistance, without glam squads, without PR campaigns, what does that say about their idols? It says their idols are products, and you are presence. It says their idols fade with trends, and you rise without trying. It says their idols are temporary, and you are timeless. That's the shift. That's why every step you take feels like a revolution disguised as a stroll. You've become the living contradiction to everything they were taught to admire. You're proof that the glow doesn't come from access or privilege. It comes from refusing to shrink. And they're studying you now. Every gesture, every breath, every glance, like scholars desperate to decode scripture. But here's the catch. They can't decode it. Because what you radiate isn't something to be studied, it's something to be lived. And that's what terrifies them. They can't download your presence. They can't replicate your aura. They can't steal your glow. They can only watch, envy, obsess, and spiral they will. Because every new room you enter adds another layer to the legend. Every head that turns confirms what they already fear. That you're not slowing down, not dimming, not fading. You're accelerating, you're brightening, you're transcending the categories they tried to stuff you into. And the more they try to rationalize, the more irrational their obsession becomes. Because there's no rational explanation for someone who glows like you. There's only recognition, and recognition burns. So let the whispers spread. Let the comparisons multiply. Let the stares linger longer and longer, because this isn't hype, this isn't trend, this is permanence. And the cruelest truth for them is this: you haven't even unleashed your full force yet. What they're seeing now is the warm-up, the rehearsal, the draft. The final version of you is still loading, and if this is how people lose composure already, what will happen when you decide to deliver the headline fully, unapologetically, deliberately? What happens when you decide to not just glow, but blaze? When you don't just walk through spaces, but own them entirely? When you don't just look like you belong on the red carpet, but make the red carpet look like it belongs under your feet? That's when the atmosphere shifts from whispers to uproar. That's when the world stops comparing you to celebrities and starts comparing celebrities to you. They will measure others by the standard you set, and the devastating part for them is that no one else will measure up. Because what you carry isn't fabric, isn't styling, isn't borrowed shine. It's a presence that can't be replicated. It's the kind of glow that makes even the brightest spotlights look like flickering candles. They'll realize that the runways and premieres were never the real stages. The real stage was always wherever you decided to stand. Because wherever you stand transforms into a scene people can't forget. This is where obsession becomes folklore. People won't just talk about how you looked better than their favorite icon. They'll repeat it until it sounds like scripture. Did you see them? Did you notice how they walked? Did you catch that glow? You will live in conversations between people who have never even met you. Strangers will retell stories of catching a glimpse of you, like they stumbled upon a secret performance, like they were blessed by proximity to something rare. That's the territory you've entered, when everyday moments become legend, when casual sightings turn into testimony, when you make the ordinary unforgettable. And while the world drowns in artificial idols, you've become the raw reminder of what presence actually is. People will realize fame isn't earned by applause, it's earned by impact. And the impact you leave behind is heavier than anything they've seen walking carpets or flashing through screens. Now imagine the panic rippling through the ones who thought they'd buried you in their indifference. The ones who smirked when you were quiet, who thought you'd never rise again. They're choking on their own disbelief now, because not only did you rise, you rose brighter than the figures they once idolized. And it burns them, because deep down, they know this isn't an illusion. They know this isn't something that will fade when the lights cut out. They know this glow came from the very fire they wished would consume you. That's why it feels eternal. That's why it feels dangerous. Because you've become a living reminder that no amount of dismissal, no amount of sabotage, no amount of whispered doubt can stop someone who decides to rebuild themselves into something untouchable. You're untouchable now, and that fact is killing them slowly. You need to understand how revolutionary this is. Red carpets are designed to elevate people above the crowd. But you've inverted the equation. You didn't need a carpet. You didn't need an invitation. You didn't need approval. The carpet needs you. The moment you step on it, it gains meaning. The moment you walk past it, it loses relevance. That's what makes them tremble. You've made the entire infrastructure of glamour irrelevant. You glow not because of the stage, but in spite of it. And once the crowd sees this, they won't unsee it. They'll look at the carefully dressed icons they once adored and find them lacking. They'll scroll through curated feeds and feel the hollowness, because they've seen what presence looks like unfiltered, and it looks like you. And don't underestimate how far this ripple travels. Fame used to be controlled by studios, managers, gatekeepers, but your glow has bypassed all of them. It doesn't need distribution channels. It doesn't need marketing plans. It spreads through whispers, through eyes, through people who can't stop retelling how they felt in your presence. That's the most powerful kind of recognition, the kind money can buy, the kind no scandal can erase. You've become unforgettable not because someone crowned you, but because you crowned yourself. And when someone crowns themselves, there's no dethroning them. That's what they can't stand, the realization that you don't need their applause, their validation, or their approval to shine brighter than the names they've been conditioned to worship. And now the question lingers in every room you enter. How far will this go? If you're already turning heads everywhere you move, what happens when the world at large catches on? What happens when the whispers become headlines, when the comparisons become consensus, when the glow you carry becomes the reference point for beauty, for presence, for dominance? That's what terrifies the icons on their pedestals, because they've seen this story before. Every generation, someone emerges who wasn't chosen by the gatekeepers, someone who wasn't polished by the industry, someone who simply radiated so fiercely that the crowd couldn't look away. And every time, those gatekeepers scramble to either claim them or destroy them. But here's the twist. You can't be claimed, and you can't be destroyed. You've already proven that. They tried both before, and both failed. All that's left is for them to watch as you redefine the standards they swore were untouchable. Everywhere you go now, the air carries tension. People pretend they're not watching, but their bodies betray them. They freeze mid-step, their voices stumble, their eyes linger too long. It's not admiration alone, it's disbelief. They are seeing with their own eyes something they thought was impossible. They thought glow was temporary, reserved for the few chosen by the spotlight. But here you are, glowing louder than those chosen few, rewriting the script in real time. And when they whisper that you look better than celebrities on red carpets, they're not exaggerating, they're confessing. Confessing that the hierarchy they've worshipped is crumbling. Confessing that they no longer see their idols the same way after seeing you. Confessing that the glow you carry has shifted their entire scale of measurement. You've become the proof that ordinary bodies can carry extraordinary presence. That you don't need the machinery of fame to radiate like the center of the universe. You just need to be you, fully, unapologetically, uncontainably you. And so, the obsession will grow. They'll keep checking, keep staring, keep whispering, because deep down, they're waiting for a crack. They're hoping you slip, fade, falter. But here's the ending they'll never accept. You won't. Because what you've built isn't fragile. It isn't surface level. It's rooted in everything you've endured, everything you've survived, everything you've sculpted out of pain. This glow isn't decoration, it's armor. This presence isn't luck. It's the result of every time you refused to disappear. You're not just better than celebs on carpets. You're the reason carpets exist at all. They exist to showcase radiance, and you've proven that the radiance doesn't come from the carpet. It comes from the one walking it, and now, every step you take declares the same truth. You are the event. You are the spectacle. You are the standard. So let them whisper. Let them panic. Let them spiral in their comparisons. Because no matter how many times they try to explain it away, the truth stands taller every day. Everywhere you go, heads turn. Everywhere you walk, energy bends. Everywhere you arrive, people see what they've been missing all along. You are glowing like you're famous, not because you chased fame, but because you became the kind of force fame tries to imitate. And the final nail in their illusions, you look better than the ones they once thought were untouchable. You've surpassed the icons. You've replaced the image. You've taken the crown without asking, and now you wear it every time you breathe. This isn't hype. This isn't trend. This is the new order. And the new order has only one rule. Wherever you go, you will never be unseen again.
Do you ever stop and wonder, what's truly the most powerful force in the world? Oh sure, you might think it's money, power, love, or even fear. But I'm here to tell you, no, it's none of that. It's absence. It's the silence left behind when you walk away. The empty space you leave in someone's life when you refuse to play their game anymore. You know what they'll say when you're gone? Nothing. Nothing but an aching, echoing emptiness. And that's where the true power lies. You've been told over and over again that cruelty is the weapon of the strong. That when someone's cruel to you, it's a reflection of your weakness, your failure to stand up, to fight back. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Their cruelty is nothing more than a fleeting act, a laughable little performance. It's not real power, not by a long shot. You think that their insults, their betrayal, their efforts to break you, you think it stops you? Please, it doesn't. You're here, aren't you? You've been here through it all. The mockery, the rejection, the unrelenting cruelty. Yet here you stand, still breathing, still moving, still holding on. So what does that tell you? It tells you that they don't have control over you. Oh no, what they don't realize, what they fail to see in their little games of manipulation and cruelty, is that the real power doesn't come from hurting someone. It comes from leaving them behind. And that's what they're terrified of. The moment you walk away, the moment you decide that their cruelty doesn't touch you anymore, that's when the world shifts and the future starts to turn in ways they never saw coming. They want you to stay, to be their punching bag. They want you to believe that they hold the strings of your life, pulling you closer with every word they throw at you. But here's the thing. They only have power as long as you allow them to. The moment you stop reacting, stop playing their game, is the moment you start changing the rules. And let me tell you, they hate that. Because the moment you decide that their cruelty doesn't matter, the moment you decide that their words are nothing more than empty noise, that's the moment when they lose control. But it's not just about their cruelty, is it? Oh no, there's something deeper, something darker, something that goes beyond just their words, their actions. Because you see, their cruelty won't stop you. You've proven that, haven't you? You've been through hell and back, and here you are, still standing. But their cruelty has always had one hidden, sinister purpose. It's never about you, it's about them. It's about what happens when you're gone. They need you to stay. They need you to react. They need you to crave their approval. They need you to feed their power, their sense of control. But the moment you walk away, the moment you take back your time, your energy, your soul, well, that's when they face the consequences of their actions. That's when they feel the weight of their cruelty, because suddenly they're alone. Suddenly their little game is over. Suddenly they have no one to play with. They're left with nothing but their own emptiness. And here's the kicker. They'll never admit it. They'll never tell you that your absence is what cuts the deepest. No, they'll twist it. They'll try to make it about you. You're the one who gave up. You're the one who couldn't handle it. But deep down, where it counts, they know the truth. They know that when you leave, when you finally decide you've had enough, you become the one in control. You become the one who dictates the future. And they'll be left with nothing but the consequences of their own cruelty. Do you want to know the hardest part for them? It's not that you've left. It's that you left without them even realizing it was happening. They never saw it coming. They never thought that their cruelty would backfire. They thought they had you trapped. They thought they could keep you small, keep you under their thumb. But when you walk away, they're left with the cold realization that they've lost and you've won. They'll call you weak, cowardly, selfish, maybe even heartless. But it doesn't matter, does it? Because you're still breathing, you're still standing. And the future? Well, that's yours to decide. Their future? It's dictated by one thing: your absence. And trust me, their cruelty is nothing compared to the void you leave behind. So, what's the next step in this twisted game? What happens when you've taken back what's rightfully yours? You stand there, looking them in the eye, knowing you've done something they could never do. You've broken free. But the hardest part is yet to come. Because the moment you decide to walk away from their cruelty, something happens. It's not just that you get free. It's that you force them to face a truth they've spent their whole lives avoiding. You take their power away by refusing to play by their rules, and suddenly they have nothing left but their own guilt, their own failure. And that's where it gets interesting. Their cruelty, their venomous attacks, their constant need to see you fail. They think it defines you. They think it defines who you are. But in reality, it only defines who they are. It's a reflection of their insecurity, their desperate need to tear you down, to remind you of your place in the world. The problem? They never thought you had the power to change it. They never thought you would simply vanish, leaving them behind to question everything they've built on their cruelty. But I'm here to tell you something. Their world doesn't crumble without you. No, that would be too easy. They won't suddenly collapse in defeat when you walk away. No. The real destruction starts when they realize they don't even have the power to make you stay. That's when the panic sets in. That's when they're forced to face their own weakness, their own insecurities. They can no longer project their cruelty onto you, and now they're forced to deal with their own demons. Now what do? Do they lash out? Do they keep trying to reach you, to pull you back into their web? Do they try to make you feel guilty for leaving? Perhaps. Maybe. But there's something even worse for them. The realization that they've lost the game, and there's no going back. There's no fixing what's broken. There's no recovering from their cruelty when you're not there to feed it anymore. You see, they never really had the power. Not over you, not over your future. The power was always in your hands. And when you stop playing their game, when you remove yourself from their world of cruelty, you take away their most potent weapon. You stop giving them the energy they crave, the attention they need to feel superior. You cut them off, cold and silent, and that's the moment they'll realize they've lost you, and they have no one else left to manipulate. They're stuck with the consequences of their own actions. Their cruelty, that was just the beginning. The real punishment, that comes when you decide you don't need to be part of their story anymore. Because the moment you leave, they're faced with an uncomfortable truth. They never really had control. It was always you. And when you decide you're done, they're left with nothing. You know what they'll say to themselves? I'll make them pay for this. I'll make them regret it. But in truth, they can't. They're already too far gone. They're already past the point of no return. And the silence of your absence will be the loudest sound they'll ever hear. And when they look back, they'll realize the one thing they couldn't control was you walking away. And that's what will haunt them forever. But of course, they'll never say it out loud. No, they'll keep up the charade, the performance. They'll keep pretending that they've got it all under control. But deep inside, where it really counts, they'll feel the hole. And you'll move forward, because you have a future now. Your future. And they'll be stuck wondering how long it'll take for you to realize just how much they really needed you to stick around. You're already free. They're just beginning to figure that out. So, here we are. The truth has been laid bare before us, hasn't it? Your absence doesn't just make them miss you. It drives them into a place where they face their own demons, their own flaws, their own weaknesses. It forces them to confront what they've done, who they really are when no one's around to worship their cruelty. Their performance of power crumbles, piece by piece, until nothing's left but an empty shell of what they thought was their control. But there's something more to this. There's something so potent in what happens when you step out of their life, when you walk away and leave them grappling with the repercussions. Because when you decide that their cruelty doesn't deserve your attention anymore, when you choose silence over suffering, it's not just them who pays the price. It's their entire future that begins to shift. Their future isn't just dictated by your absence. No, it's rewritten. And what they'll come to realize, after a long, agonizing wait, is that their life will never be the same again, and neither will yours. You've shown them, haven't you? You've shown them what it means to finally stand up, not by fighting back with rage, not by stooping to their level, but by walking away, by leaving, by refusing to be part of their toxic world anymore. That's the ultimate weapon. That's the thing they can never anticipate, never prepare for, and never recover from. Because here's the painful truth. Cruelty is a weapon of the weak. It's a tool of those who can't find peace within themselves, so they make a habit of stealing it from others. And you've taken back what was always yours, your peace. When you walk away, it's not just a physical act, it's a psychological one. It's you stepping into the driver's seat of your life, taking back control, reclaiming your energy. They might try to tell you that you're running away, that you're abandoning them. But the truth is, you've stopped giving them the power to make you feel less than you are. You've stopped letting their cruelty define you. And when that happens, when you make that conscious choice to disconnect from their grasp, their entire existence starts to crumble. But what happens when the silence of your absence finally sets in? What happens when they can no longer manipulate your thoughts, your actions, your feelings? Oh, it's ugly. You think that their cruelty is the worst thing they've ever done to you. But in reality, the worst thing they can do is nothing. Because when you leave, they're left in an uncomfortable limbo, constantly searching for a way to pull you back into their web of manipulation, trying to get you to play their sick little game once again. They'll try everything. They'll come up with excuses. They'll pretend like they didn't mean it, like they were just joking. But deep down, they know. They know that they've lost something precious, their control, and they'll regret it. Every single day they'll wonder how they could have kept you. How they could have kept you from realizing that they were nothing but a parasite feeding on your energy. And that's the bitter pill they'll swallow. It will burn them alive. You see, when someone is cruel to you, they're telling you everything about themselves. They're not revealing your flaws, your weaknesses. They're revealing their own. And the moment you walk away, when you stop allowing their cruelty to shape your world, you make a decision that is so profound, so powerful, that it leaves them in shock. They can't fathom it. How could you walk away from them? How could you turn your back? How could you move on as if they never existed? It's simple, really. You've chosen yourself. You've chosen your future. You've chosen to build a life that doesn't revolve around their toxic games. And that decision will follow you, like a shadow, as you move forward. Their cruelty can't reach you anymore. It can't control your thoughts. It can't dictate your feelings. It can't touch you. But while you've walked away, while you've broken free from their toxicity, their future, well, it's sealed. The void you leave behind begins to eat at them. The silence grows louder with every passing day. They'll try to drown it out with distractions, with other people, with new games to play. But it won't work. Because they'll always know. Deep down, they'll always know that you're gone. And that's the real punishment. That's the real consequence. And what do they have left now? What do they have to hold on to? Their cruelty? Their cruelty is nothing more than a mask for their weakness. You've seen through it. You've exposed them. And now they're standing in the rubble of their own lies. And no matter how hard they try, they can never rebuild the walls they've torn down with their cruelty. Here's the thing they'll never understand. Their cruelty doesn't define you, but your absence, it defines them. It's the thing they'll have to live with. It's the one thing they'll never escape, and it will haunt them. They'll carry it with them, that ghost of you that they pushed away. Because when you're gone, when you stop being part of their story, they're left with nothing but the realization that they let something precious slip through their fingers. They'll try to fill the gap with more cruelty, more manipulation, more control, but it won't work. They'll always be running after something that's already been lost. They'll never catch up. Now I want you to stop and think for a second. Imagine the power of your absence. Imagine how it reverberates through the universe like a stone dropped into the stillest water. The ripples are far-reaching. The change is inevitable. You, deciding to walk away, to remove yourself from their toxic game, becomes a turning point in their lives. And deep inside, they'll know it. But you'll move on. You'll grow. You'll rebuild. You'll find peace and success and happiness without them. Without their cruelty weighing you down, you'll find your way. And as you do, they'll watch from the sidelines, desperately trying to keep up with the shadow of who they used to be. The world you create, the life you lead, will be a testament to the strength that lies in walking away. And when they look at you from a distance, when they see you thriving, when they see you free, that's when the true weight of their cruelty will settle in. They'll know it, feel it, and carry it with them. They lost you. But what's worse, they'll never get you back. You see, the world doesn't stop turning because you walked away. No, it keeps moving forward. And in the end, it's not their cruelty that will define you. It's your ability to rise above it, to leave them in the past where they belong, and to dictate a future where you're in control. The truth is, their cruelty is temporary. Your absence, it's permanent. And that's the power they can never take away from you. They'll remember that silence. They'll remember your decision to leave. And that memory will haunt them every day for the rest of their lives. So when they come for you with their cruelty, don't fight back. Don't respond. Walk away and let your absence write the future they never saw coming.